Hey, Bayek, it's me, Ian. And in today's video, well, I'm continuing my look at Carry On films, and it is Carry On Regardless from 1961. Yep, 1961. We're moving along now. This is the fifth one. Last time we had Carry On Constable from 1960, and we're going to get, after this, Carry On Cruising in 1962. So there you are. This runs for 90 minutes. Rotten Tomatoes, I know it is slowly going down. It's 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. There's the usual I talked about before about the critics. It's the same kind of thing. But, it's what we expect, isn't it? It's a Carry On film, and, hey, by heck. Anyhow, it's written, as usual, by Norman Hudris. Then it's produced Peter Rogers and directed by Gerald Thomas. So the team is in place. Well, they were, I think, certainly, from some of the notes I've read at this time, this is an interesting film for Carry On, in terms of keeping the brand name. There was another production company looking at doing like a Doctor series. We'd seen that before, and the success of Carry On Nurse, I think, was seen in that context. So Carry On wanted to keep their brand name, and they did. They did keep that. They even asked the general public for titles, just as that, communication, and they came up with some very interesting titles, I think. Anyhow, this one, Carry On Regardless, was a great idea, and it set it up that you could do all sorts with various scenes, and it works well as you go throughout. It was, as usual, filmed at Pinewood Studios, and location work was at Windsor. So that's interesting. Windsor was some of the location, which again adds to the film. And there's some great scenes, particularly, in here, which the location work is quite interesting. Also, I suspect they've used stock footage as well on some things. Like, for instance, the steam trains, which is really, it's so easy to forget that in 1961, steam trains were still going, yes. And it's great to see. I love seeing the steam trains. It's a great nostalgia thing, because I just vaguely remember them as a child. It just adds to that. Anyhow, the cast. Let's have a look at the cast again. Sid James plays Bert Andy. This is his second outing now, and already that face of his, as they joke about that face as well, and the laugh, it's already becoming established. And I'd say in this film, actually, he does, his role is expanded, I think, than it is in Carry On Constable. He's great in this, and there's some great scenes with him. He's so funny. It's great. And then we've got Kenneth Connor. I love Kenneth Connor. He's just so funny. He just makes me laugh. And he's called Sam Twist. He always has these names, doesn't he? Sam Twist, which Carry On, we're good at giving the names. Then we've got the zany, weird Charles Autry. He plays somebody, again with a silly name, Gabriel Dimple. And he's just, I always say it, he's just Charles Autry. Kenneth Williams, he plays Francis Courtney. And Kenneth Williams, his character, he always plays like these sort of educated one who has all this knowledge, and he uses that in this character that he plays as well. But he's very good and funny, and he just he's just there. He's settled into the playing these roles. Then we've got, I think as well, Joan Sims. She just makes me laugh. She's here again as Lily Juvine or whatever, but she's so funny. I always think she works well, and she does in this with Kenneth Connor. They work really well, and her character is. There's a scene where she's getting drunk. It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Just so funny. I love her in this role. I really do. I think people perhaps have talked a lot about Barbara Windsor, quite rightly so, but I think sometimes Joan Sims has been not appreciated quite as much, and she's great. Honestly, she is wonderful. Then we see for the last appearance, and he doesn't get, I don't think, as much in this film, is Terence Longdon. He plays, now this is a strange name, Montgomery Infield Hopping. Yes, I know. He has appeared, as you remember, right back to Carry On Sergeant. And this is his last role in the Carry On film. Then the next one, Bill Owen, he returns. We saw him in Carry On Sergeant and Carry On Nurse, and now he returns as Mike Weston. It's not quite as a prominent role, but he's one of the helpers, into the agency. Then we've got the introduction of a face that would become familiar, though I thought she was in one of these. She was only in, I think, 4 Carry On films, which is Liz Fraser. She plays Delia King. She adds another comedy element definitely into it. Then I mentioned Hattie Jakes pops up again, but it's in a much reduced role because she was ill. She was going to be in a more prominent role, in even a different character, but she was ill, and they had to spread the lines out and in the script and change it for the other characters. But she's here, good old Hattie Jakes. No Carry On film is that with you need Hattie Jakes. She's so great. I love her. And then we've got I suppose what you call the high profile guest. We seem to have had that pattern before this, and we've got this time a character who made his stage act and his appearance speaking gobbledygook. Basically, he was known as Professor Stanley Hunwin, and he plays the landlord, and he does his normal act. He used to pop up, I remember him popping up everywhere on TV shows and just doing his thing with his gobbledygook, basically. Anyhow, he's in it. He just adds another comic element to it. It's like a running gag throughout, which is quite interesting. And it all actually nicely comes together at the end. Then let's see. Jo Nixon pops up again as a matron. Again, small role, but she's there. And I'd like to mention another because I think she's fantastic. Fenella Fielding. She pops up as, now listen, the name is very Carry On, Penny Panting. Penny Panting. Well, she really becomes to prominence, I think, in Carry On terms, in Carry On Screaming, 1966, Carry On Screaming. She's fantastic. She has that certain presence with her voice and the way she is. She became sort of well known for playing that kind of role. But in Carry On terms, Carry On Screaming is the film that she's certainly remembered for. But she's here, and you don't miss her, I'll tell you. with a name like that, you wouldn't. And guess who gets involved with her in the scenes? It's, of course, Kenneth Connor. Yes. I'm laughing now. I shouldn't be laughing about it. Yeah. It's so funny. It really is. Then you might see this. The thing is, the cast is quite big in this, but people are only in it for very little time. But there are a few faces that you think, oh, it's them. Patrick Cargill again. He's had involvement before in terms of writing. Okay, with TV star and Nicholas Parsons. Yeah, Nicholas Parsons. Yeah, he's there. It's only very brief, but he's there. You can see him. He pops up as well. Nicholas Parsons went on to do all sorts, mainly TV work, and became famous with his Sale of the Century, I remember, and Just a Minute on radio as well. Yeah, he was well known for all these things. And he appeared in a Doctor Who story, Curse of Fenric. Yes, I remember that well. The 7th Doctor story in his last season. Sylvester McCoy. Yep, he's in that in his classic Doctor Who story. Anyway, just thought I'd go off track. We always get connections, and I thought we'd get that one in. Yeah, a Doctor Who connection. Right, so what is this about? It's this agency is set up by Sidney James, Helping Hands. There's always all sorts of innuendos with this. It's a great name, Helping Hands. And 7 people come together in this agency. They're all sort of fed up. It starts off at the Employment Exchange, as they used to call them. Oh, it's all very different now. They're dual officers, but very different then. And they end up all following this advert, end up at the agency. And that's how the story goes on. And you get all these scenes where they're doing their jobs, and fantastic. Another one that stands out, I think, is the Kenneth Williams one, where he's involved with a monkey or a chimpanzees, whatever you want to call it, and it's so funny as well. And it's really good. It's wandering around, and he's Gareth Williams, the way he responds, and the monkey as well. It's chimpanzee. It's just great. It's wonderful. It reminds me of so much of good of that era. Oh yeah. And then there's all the innuendos. There's even like a spoof spy thing, which is interesting because we're going to get a Carry On Spying. But we've got the, again, it's Kenneth Connor involved in that. And this is where the trains are involved as well. Absolutely wonderful. I just loved it. You could go on. And as I mentioned it earlier, because Joan Sims getting drunk. Fantastic. It's absolutely wonderful. You can't say fairer than that, really, because it is. It's just, as you can see, I think this film really highlights all the good, best things in Carry On films now. They're really into it. We've seen them all develop. And it proves that it can expand as well. It's starting to expand into its ideas of what it's going to do and produce, and this idea of an employment helping hands agency is great. It's wonderful, jobs that they'll do, and great comic idea, and they execute this superbly, and the audience really starts to love these actors. In fact, you couldn't do a Carry On film anymore if these actors weren't in it, the core actors. And as say, audiences really did love these films. They became like a national institution. And that's it, really. Again, all these early ones in black and white, and highly recommended. If you've not seen them, well, you should see them, and you could probably easily get old to watch them. Very easy. I do this all the time, but I just thought I'd show you it again. It's the box set, the DVD box set, which is this film is on. And actually, when I watched them, I think the quality is fantastic. The transfer, they must have done a really good job. So I'm not worried about the Blu-ray. I'm sure I know Blu-ray does a lot of sharpening up, but what they've done here is fantastic. Yeah. So that's it then. If you're new and have just seen this for the first time, then well, please subscribe because we'll let you know when I produce these videos. And if you like it, please give it a like because it gets in algorithms and all that stuff, and it's hopefully then more people can enjoy my videos. Well, I hope so. Well, perhaps they won't. I don't know. And it's all cost note, and so you can't say fairer than that. And if you have any comments, please put your comments down. I'll answer every comment, and I'd love to hear from you. And well, that's it now. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.